So, now that we know a lot more about the Xbox Series X and PS5, which one should you buy? I don't know. Let's talk about it. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of news in this next-gen gaming world. And today, we're going to do a deep dive, an ultimate dive into which console you should buy. We're going to compare the specs. We're going to look at the different games and the different options you'll have the day you buy this console afforded to you. Now, I will also give you my opinion on which one I think you should buy at the end of this video, but we're going to try to keep it as impartial as we can. We're going to try to be fair to both consoles. This is not meant to be an opportunity to dump on one or the other. We really want to know which one is the best buy for our money. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so here we are with our first comparison. We're going to be looking at the price and all the specs that each console has to offer. Now, I'm going to go into a deeper dive on the price later on in this video, and you're going to want to stick around for that because there's some shocking things that you might learn, and if those things matter to you, then it will make this decision much, much easier for you. So first and foremost, we know that the PlayStation 5 is $500. The digital edition is $400, the Xbox Series X is $500, and its digital version, the S, is $299. Now remember, the digital edition for the PS5 is the exact same console as the disc edition. There is no difference between these two. The only difference is this one has no disc player, this one does. Now that may matter to you. That's a 4K Ultra Blu-ray disc player. That may matter to you. You can buy games physically for your game, which you cannot do on the digital edition, and you can watch your Blu-rays, 4Ks, and DVDs on your PlayStation 5. If that matters to you, then you must get the disc version. Same with the X. If that matters to you, then you must get the X. If that does not matter to you, then you're probably going to want to buy the $400 PS5 digital edition because it has the same exact specs as the 5, way better than the S. Now, if you really want the S, that is cheaper, but you're going to get less for your money if you buy the S. And we'll look at that right now. So we see here the S is just, it's the smallest of them all. So if size really matters to you, then that's another reason to buy the S. Next, we move on to the CPUs. They all have the exact same AMD CPU. They're all AMD Zen 2s. The only difference is the Xbox CPUs are slightly faster. This is a wash here. You're not going to see much of a difference between these four CPUs. This is a tie. We then move on to the GPUs, and you see that they both have an RDNA 2 GPU. They're both custom GPUs. The PS5 disc and digital both do 10.28 teraflops at 36 computing units. The Xbox Series X is 12 teraflops at 52 computing units. This one wins. It's a pretty substantial win. It's not enormous. There's not this big gap between the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, but it does win. It's clearly a winner here. So maybe slightly sharper graphics and slightly better frame rates and 4K on the X over the course of the life of the system. And then we have the S, which is just woefully behind at 4 teraflops at only 20 computing units. It's a third about of the X and about half of the PS5. So you cannot, if graphics matter to you more than anything, then you cannot get the S. We then move on to the RAM, and as you can see, the PS5 has 16 gigabytes as well as the X. The S only has 10. The 10 is not enough. I think you're going to see some lagging between, on the user interface between switching games. You're going to see it be a little slower than these other two consoles. But if you're just comparing the PS5 to the Series X, then it is a wash here as well. Slightly different bit rate, but it's a wash essentially. We have the memory bandwidth with this does 448 gigabytes a second. Static, so regardless if it's 10 gigabytes or less. The Xbox Series X does 10 gigabytes at 560 a second, but 6 gigabytes at 336 gigabytes a second. So it's a little different here. This is just static versus a little different. And then you can see the S is way behind just absolutely way behind. It only does 8 gigabytes at 224 gigabytes a second. So this is, once again, another bottleneck for the S. You're only paying $299, but as you're seeing, for only $100 more, you're getting the 404 gigabytes a second, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 10 teraflops. For $100 more, you're getting so much more with the PS5. So if you're wondering which digital edition should I get, the PS5 clearly is the winner here. Then we have the internal storage. Both the PS5s have 825 gigabytes, which is less than what I would like, but that's doable. That's about the bare minimum for next gen that I would ever want to go with. The Xbox Series X has 1 terabyte, which is where I would want my system to be. And the S, once again, is woefully behind both consoles at only 512 gigabytes. All right, moving on. We have the external storage. The PS5, you can actually get HDD support third party. So you can actually buy external storages for your PS5. You cannot do that on the X. You have to buy the expansion card. Check out my video on the expansion card for the Xbox Series X. Because it's proprietary, you have to buy a specific expansion card for your Xbox, and it costs $220. So if this matters to you, PlayStation 5 crushes it here. Though I do think maybe you can get an old hard drive and put your old games on it. I'm not sure, which I wish they would have done that for the S. I wish they would have put a cheap 512 gigabyte standard hard drive, not solid state drive. That's super cheap. They could have thrown that in there, and you could have put old like indie games or games that don't take up a lot of space on your S and save only the 512 for the games you really care about most. I wish they would have given you that option. That would have been a huge plus and would have made the Xbox Series S more inviting. And then we see here both the PS5 disc and the Xbox Series X disc players are 4K UHD Blu-ray players. So that matters most to me. So it's going to be, for me, it's between the two, big hitters, the PS5 disc and the Series X. And then you see the output is 4K, 60 frames per second, target 120, and then the S is at 144p, which is woefully behind the other two consoles. Okay, so that is the specs. So as you can see, I think for the money, the digital edition is actually the best buy for the money. But the PS5 and Series X are really great because you get the freedom of being able to buy discs for your systems. Now, they're all great deals. So don't get me wrong. They're all great deals. $500 for the PS5, $500 for the Series X is a great deal. You're getting so much for your money there. You really can't go wrong on any one of these systems. Even if you bought the S, $299 is still a great deal. But if you're comparing these four consoles together, not in a vacuum, so together, then the Series S I'm getting less for your money. While it is a great deal, you're not getting as much for your money. You get so much more for your money if you buy one of these three consoles. So I would steer clear of the S. I would go for the X. It's only $200 more. Now, if you cannot do that, I get it. $299 is a great entry level. And like I said, you're still getting a great console. You're getting a lot for your money there. But if you just want to know what's the best bang for your buck, if that's all we're asking, then it's going to be one of these three consoles. And probably the digital is one of the best buys here at $400. But a disc matters too much to me, and so I will never buy that. I would buy this or this, the X or the 5. Now you want to know, what games can you play on launch day? On launch day, the PlayStation 5 will have Demon's Souls Remake, which is a huge one. That's a really huge exclusive. Like, that's going to be groundbreaking, right? Like, that's going to be the one that you really want to play day one. You also have Spider-Man Miles Morales, and this is also a day one game, but this is not a full game. It's a small, it's like a size and scope. It's confusing. It's very small. It's a standalone title comparable to Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, but it's not a full game. You hear me? Miles Morales, this is not a full game, so don't be fooled by this. This is not a full game. This is the equivalent of a large DLC, and they're charging you $50 for this large DLC. This should be 40 or 30. I think this is a bit of a cash grab. I'm not happy about Miles Morales right now. I don't think it's worth $50. It's going to be not even half of what they said the original Spider-Man is. It's not a full game, so be careful with that. Devil May Cry, you can already play that on PS4. Whatever, that's another cashback grab, I think. Astro's Playroom will be loaded on the PS5 when you buy it, so you'll have that day one. It's going to be a very short, probably a couple few hour game. Destruction All Stars, whatever, and Sackboy, you can buy this for $50, $60. This should be a lot of fun. It's an exclusive game, so that's another exclusive game. It kind of looked like a Mario type game to me. So that should be fun if that matters to you. And then of course Fortnite, and then we have games that are coming later on. So right now, none of this stuff you can't play any of this stuff right now. Deathloop, God of War, you can't play any of this stuff right now. So over half the stuff they showed in this showcase, you can't even play when you buy your Xbox, your PlayStation 5 day one. So these are the games you can play. If this matters most to you, then you're going to want a PlayStation 5. Spider-Man, it's a half game, but it still is interesting. I don't think you'd want to spend $50 on this game. I just don't think you would. Devil May Cry is a cash grab. So moving on to Series X, there isn't a lot of exclusives. However, Destiny 2 Beyond Light will be completely free if you have Game Pass. So Destiny 2 will be completely free if you have Xbox Game Pass. And if you buy the finance option, you'll have Game Pass. So this will be a game you can play day one when it comes out, the new content Beyond Light. So if that matters to you, if Destiny 2 is a big part of your life, then you have to go Xbox because you get this for free. You'd have to buy it on the PS4. And you have to buy all the DLC on the PS4 as well. All the DLC is going to be on Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is 100%. Every downloadable content it's ever had is going to be 100% free on Xbox Game Pass. So if that matters to you, then you need to buy Xbox. So really the big ones here are Destiny Beyond Light or Demon's Souls. Which one matters most to you? And then we have Dirt 5, Gears Tactics. Tetris Effect will also be free on Game Pass. So this new Tetris Effects Connected will be free on Game Pass. So you'll have Beyond Light and Tetris Effects free. Day one when you buy your console without even having to buy a game, you'll have those games free. Okay, and then of course you have all the third-party titles, Watch Dogs Legions, Valhalla, which will both be on PS5 and Xbox Series X. So if all you were planning on playing is third-party games, then go with the specs. Which one has the better specs that you like? Otherwise, you could play these games on either system. Okay, so those are the games that you're looking at playing on your Xbox. Okay, now we're moving on. Here are the bottom lines. Okay, these are my bottom lines, my final thoughts. I think specs are going to be very similar. The S is completely lower than the other two consoles. It's a separate discussion. Its specs are not even worth comparing because it's so different. But it's a great deal at $299. So you're looking at PS5 is $399 digital or $499 disc. The Xbox Series X is $299 digital, which is the S dumbed down version, or the $499 for the full disc power. But one interesting thing here is you can finance both the X and the S, which I haven't seen that option on PlayStation. And what that gives you for $35 a month, which would be $840 over 2 years for the X, or $25 a month, which is $600 over 2 years for the S. What you need to really note here is that this price, this $35 a month and this $25 a month, includes EA Play and Game Pass Ultimate. EA Play is a $5 a month service, and Game Pass Ultimate is a $15 a month service. So you're getting a $20 a month value there. You get both of those, and you get both of those on day one. So you'll have access to all those games on day one, like Star Wars Squadrons. That's a new game that's coming out. You'll have at least 10 hours to play on that, I believe, plus all the other EA games. If 2K matters to you, if any of those things matter to you, FIFA matters to you, then you're going to really want EA Play. And the Game Pass Ultimate has tons of great new games. And every time an Xbox Microsoft Studio game launches, like Fable or any of those games, or when Halo does come out, you're going to have Game Pass. It's going to be free, right? So you get all those games for free with your Game Pass Ultimate. So you end up paying $15 a month for the X, right? Because if you take away your $20 a month value, then you're paying $15 a month for the X, which ends up being $360 instead of $499. and $5 a month for your S, which is $120 instead of $299. If you take away so in that $25 a month, 20 of it's going to your Game Pass and EA Play, essentially what you're getting for your money. It's really only about $5. Although EA Play is part of Game Pass Ultimate, which is $15 a month, that's a value you have to consider, right? So what value am I getting? I'm getting EA Play and Game Pass Ultimate. If I bought those things separately, then it would be $20. Like if you're on a PlayStation, you wanted EA Play, it cost you $5. Game Pass includes both of them, so that's the total value you're getting is about $20 a month in value in free games, right? And so that's really crazy over 2 years. That is, to me, the no-brainer buy. The finance options are the no-brainer buys. And remember, this is only if you qualify. So if you qualify, then you can get these choices here. And I would just go $35 a month and get the X. That's just a great deal for that console. And you get all these wonderful games, included in that $35 a month. So you can walk away on day one with your Xbox with, you probably spend the tax and then $35 a month, $70. You walk away with Destiny, all these wonderful games day one. You don't even have to buy a game. Where on the PlayStation, you're going to have to buy a game like Demon's Souls or something, or else what's the point of buying it? So it's going to end up costing you upwards of $600, $500 to $600 versus the Xbox walking away. Yes, you're paying it over 2 years, but if you're just trying to see what's the cheapest I can get out of, next gen day one, what's the cheapest I can walk away, you're looking at the Xbox financing option. Now, the games, the PS5 has a shortened Miles Morales Spider-Man game or Demon's Souls, which these are going to be $70 games. And also, you get the PS Plus collection. This will be a short time where you can play old PS4 exclusives. So if you've already played all the PS4 exclusive, then this is worthless to you. This has no value to you. But if you haven't, then you'll have a short window in which you can play the old PS4 exclusives like God of War and Bloodborne and Horizon. So if you haven't got a chance to play those yet, then this is a great value to you. You can just buy this and get the collection, but you have to buy Plus. You have to have PS Plus, right? And have some games to play day one. The Xbox will have Scorn and Medium. I believe these will both be on Game Pass. So you'll get those as exclusive launch titles. Scorn is like a first-person shooter, and Medium is like a horror thriller game. Plus all the third-party games you can buy, plus also Game Pass, which comes with Tetris Effects and Destiny 2 Beyond Light, and the EA games for at least 10 hours of playtime, and 100 plus Xbox titles on Game Pass. So the games, another win here for Xbox right now. I think if we had all those games we saw in the showcase coming out next year for the PS5 hands down wins. But if we're talking about just pre-ordering, what am I doing now for day one, November 10th, November 12th? You're not getting a whole lot of games on your PS5. You're just not getting a whole lot of games. You're getting like 2 games you can really play that are brand new. Where Xbox, you're going to have very similar amount of games. So the games are kind of a wash, and you can get all these games for free with Game Pass when you're paying your monthly fee. So, and then you have intangible things, like these things are things you personally can't live without. They're subjective. It may be like your controller. I love the PS5 controller or the PlayStation controller, or I love the Xbox controller. I can't live without that. I have to buy that console because that's my favorite thing about the console is how the control feels, and I can't play games without it. Then you're going to want to go with whatever system matters to you most there. Or your achievements / your trophies. You've been working on your achievements for a decade now. You can't see yourself throwing them away to get a new console. Or trophies on your PlayStation. You can't see yourself throwing your trophies away to get a console. If that matters to you, that's completely subjective. I can't give you any information or insight on that. That's completely up to you. Or if the UI matters to you so much so that you can't live without that specific way to navigate your system, then buy the system that matters to you. These are things that are subjective. I have no opinion. As for me, I think day one is Xbox, and just doing the finance option, if that's an option for you, and then buying a PS5 later down the road, early next year, maybe use Christmas money or something, the money you get for Christmas, to buy a PlayStation 5, because there's not going to be a whole lot to play on your PS5 that you can't already play on your Xbox. and the games will look maybe a slightly better on the Xbox. For those third-party games like Valhalla or Cyberpunk, those games that you're probably going to plan on buying this holiday season, or Call of Duty, they're all going to look just as good or better on the Xbox. And a lot of the PS5 exclusives don't come out till next year sometime. So I would wait till next year, maybe summertime next year, and then buy a PS5 out the gate, because the Game Pass is too great a deal, and you're not getting a whole lot more on your PlayStation. I just think it's more money out the gate. So I'd buy an Xbox day one and then a PS5 down the road. So I think that it would be my advice to you. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know down below. And as always, please have a great rest of your day and week. Peace.
I love you, me.